Live! Yes,
I'm very chill.
Teresa is very chill. Hi, Liz. Hi, Teresa.
Hi,
Welcome to a
Frankie.
very special episode of Ellana Lifestyle, which is the as yet unnamed show where we talk about things that aren't necessarily just makeup, just about life, beauty, and all things good. So we're gonna talk about life, beauty, and all things good tonight with Teresa and Liz, who need no
Woo.
introduction, but we will
Oh,
have
we
them
do
introduce themselves.
introductions.
Yeah, you will. I was about to say who need no introduction, but who will be introducing themselves anyway. But before they do, um, welcome, welcome. Don't be shy. There are a couple of you already watching. I know a lot of people lately weirdly don't like to comment; they just like to watch. I'm like, guys, don't be shy. Comment. Mostly
Comment
because
below.
because for this stream, if you guys comment on this live and share this live while it's running, we will pick two people to be winners of a special giveaway at the end of the live. That's what we're gonna do tonight.
Yay.
Woo, giveaway.
So it's actually going to be a chill live tonight. It's going to be very, very interesting. If you are tuning in and you are likely somebody who is looking to start a new business, a lot of people are starting businesses because of the current situation. And we are very, very privileged to have two very, very self-made women in the house tonight. Myself not included because I'm the employee of one of them. But yeah. So we'll be talking about entrepreneurship, being a woman in a position of authority, and generally just all that really interesting, good stuff about trying something new and better for yourself and for the people around you. Because that's why else would you start a business? To benefit the world. That's why. But before we get into that deep stuff, let's start with introductions. Who wants to go first? Jack and Boy.
Okay. Ano tawag na?
Paano mo mag-Jack and Poy ulit? Oh my God, I haven't had Jack and Poy in ages. Yeah, one,
Bato.
One.
Oh. Pick. Oh my God.
Pareho kayo!
Pareho tayo.
Sure.
Isa pa.
Part time.
Again.
Bato.
So,
Pick.
Okay, so Liz wins, which means I don't know. Teresa goes first, I guess, or Liz goes first.
Oh, I lose. So
talo siya.
Yeah,
Okay,
oo nga,
so you have to
talo.
go first. So you have to go first.
Hi, my name is Theresa Buenaflor, and I am the founder of Ellana Cosmetics. Pwede na yan? Okay
Pwede
na
na.
yan?
Kailangan yung buong story ang makwento mo na.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
kailangan may iyakan daw eh. We have
You
drinks.
want to take? Okay.
Maalala
Anyway.
mo kaya.
Oh, okay,
Kaya
fine.
intro dapat. Just kidding. Anyways, my name is Liz. I am the founder of ProjectVanity.com. We have an amazing community of women who just love to talk about beauty and, just enjoy their products and enjoy their discoveries. So that's what Project Vanity is about.
And I love
Kaya mas mahaba pa rin.
Okay. And I am Frankie, and we'll be interviewing both of them for you. I am Frankie, and we'll be interviewing both of them for
Is there a
everybody.
way for me to see the comments?
Yes,
of
they're on the side of the
people, or-
screen. You should see there's a comment tab right there at the side, right? And then you should see everybody
I'm
like
on,
mobile
I'm
phone.
on my... Oh, there it is.
Okay, there.
But is all the comments seen in this? No.
Yes, all of them are seen.
Okay.
Okay.
Because sometimes, like, okay, I
Yeah.
did not catch Frankie all this time.
What do you mean? I did not catch Frankie all this time.
So click the bottom, the chat part, and then there's comments, and then you see it.
You guys. I can see you if that's...
Yeah, don't worry. I will flash questions. I will
It's
click
alright,
them and they
just
will appear on the screen.
comments.
Yes, that's my
Yeah.
job. I am Frankie. I am here to read your comments, ask your questions. If you guys have questions, you can ask them. Of course, since we are talking to women who are beauty entrepreneurs, you can also ask beauty questions. But in general, we're going to be talking about being a woman in entrepreneurship. It's going to be a casual chat. We're not going to do a seminar. It's going to be fun. And we're gonna ask questions you usually ask when there's alcohol present, but we don't have any.
Why are you talking about water?
Yeah, wala na nga. We don't have any. We're very G-rated. So we're just gonna talk about basically that. So you guys ask questions as well, and we're also gonna be talking a little bit about the exciting collaboration between these two women, because they did create together a line of really innovative products that we all love. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Ipakita. Teresa, ipakita mo. See?
Andito,
This is
andito.
going
Of
there.
course, yun
Okay.
yung gamit ko today.
Ayan. Wee, my favorite bra brush.
Super
Because
important.
I remember like the development stage for this. This is actually like a lot of people think it's really easy to create a product. No, like those two products are the results of years. Like you guys didn't see those brow
Took a
products
while, yeah.
were in creation for like over a year before. The brush design, everything. It's quite
True.
a learning experience to see. But before we go into how difficult it is to launch a product and design a product, I think the first question everybody, oh wow, Susie Larona says, I'm so happy seeing the three of you together. Oh, yay,
Aw.
ignore me, I don't exist. I don't exist, I'm just the host. Look at them. Okay. The first question actually is why did you guys start being entrepreneurs in the first place? Why did you guys decide to start a business, versus you getting a job or whatever? Why entrepreneurship?
So,
Okay,
Liz, you first?
Parang
Oh,
tayo mag-jack and boy every time.
oh, sige.
I don't mind though, but hindi pantay yung internet natin is a problem.
Oo nga eh.
Anyways, why did I start in business? Well, like I actually only held like one full-time job, one full-time office job in my
Mhm.
life. That was after I graduated. Soon after I graduated from UP. I have a political science degree, by the way. So I thought I was gonna be a lawyer, but then I got into blogging when I was still in college, and like after college, I worked my first and only office job. It was fun actually. I was selling domain names. I was
Oh, cool.
doing marketing for domain names here in the Philippines, which is a fun job. It was a fun office, but I was thinking, parang, do I want to work here or do I want to work on my blog? Because it was
This is what
already a
year?
time when, sorry,
This is what year?
8 years, 8 months. I worked there for 8 months. So for
Okay.
8 months, yeah. So for 8 months, I was like, after that, parang I was thinking my blog was starting to take off. I mean, I wasn't making money or anything like that. That's crazy. I've been blogging at that time, siguro mga 4 years already for my personal blog. But Project Vanity was maybe 2 years old at that time. So,
Mm.
but that was a time when Project Vanity was kind of like, getting invited to stuff or I'm getting to try things. I was like, parang meron to ah. Hindi ako sure. Like, inisip ko lang, parang I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna make money, but I'm interested. Try it out. So I quit that job. And I felt so stupid after quitting that job because parang, ano ba yan? Hindi ko inisip. Paano ako kakain? Kasi wala namang pera sa vlogging. And I was living in Manila at that time. I wasn't living with my parents. So that was that was a really stupid decision. And, we weren't rich or anything like that. But luckily, I was able to start getting freelance jobs. I actually worked for mga ad agencies, media agencies. I did a lot of projects with them. But freelancer lang. So I didn't really have to go to the office. Like maybe I'd go to the office once a week, ganyan. Pero freelance lang. And then I've been doing that for a while, and then I started getting clients for consultancy. I mean, Ellana was one of those clients actually. That was the year 6 years ago, mga ganun.
Yeah.
No?
Ayoko na tandaan. Sandali. Tagal nun.
Tagal na nun, yeah.
Remember,
That was the second. Yeah. That was the first rebrand of Ellana.
Yeah.
The first rebrand of Ellana. And that's when I met Theresa, like a really long time ago.
That's
to
true.
me. And then yun, I eventually decided, okay, consulting is fine. It's fun. I enjoy it also. But I want to start my own, like I want to see what I can do with Project Vanity. So I incorporated a company around it, and now we're here.
Yeah.
So that was 4 years ago.
But
like
you've
the
been
time-
talking for a long time already, di ba? Tapos you just
Yeah,
incorporated.
I've been consulting and freelancing for a long time. Since 2010, actually.
Yeah.
So 10 years na rin. But the actual company, and when I decided to become an entrepreneur, like consciously, was 4 years ago.
That's true.
So that's why. That's my first. That's
Or
the first episode of my maalaala mo kaya story.
Oh, Teresa,
Ayun.
I think this is interesting. So hearing this story, there is quite a contrast, and everybody watching, there's going to be quite a contrast in the entrepreneurship journeys of these two women, because you have Liz, who I'm actually going to say it's a very 2020 model of entrepreneurship, where it's starting out with consultancy, it's starting out with freelancing, it's starting out with building yourself as a brand, and then building a company around that. And then you have Teresa, who is, I would say, the reverse in a lot of ways, because now we're trying to get you to show your. It took so long for Teresa to show herself on camera. I remember Liz,
Oh,
you who told me, pa, like, get Teresa to talk, and we're like, try. But again, it's a nice contrast, and we're gonna get into those contrasts in a bit. But for now, Teresa, since Liz talked about her story, share a little bit about yours. Like, how did you decide to become an entrepreneur? Why entrepreneurship and not, just getting a job out of college like the rest of us kind of did?
isa-isa. Why first?
No, I mean that was just like expounding on the one question. It's the
That's
same
three
question.
questions at once. Okay. So, ano tawag yun? Let's start with why. So, I started my entrepreneurship journey in I've been a single mom for the very longest time, and I was in college, and I needed to feed my child. Basically, I needed to find some sort of income in order to make everything work. Basically, mahal ng gatas, no? Hello. Ano tawag doon?
Oh, yeah.
So, magkano isang box, and we finish it so fast. And then, alam mo yun, even with breastfeeding, I was trying to, because I was also studying then. So, half breastfeeding, half needed to buy milk, and alam mo yun, and so I basically needed to make money. So the first thing I made was, I've done was lip balms, and I started out from there, and people started buying from there. Like my classmates started buying from there. And I was like, hey, I can actually make something out of this. And I remember one of my first clients was another blogger, si Casey Nerva. She was reselling my stuff back then. Yeah, she was reselling my stuff back then. I was still in. I would go to suppliers in college in my college uniform, and they would call me Nene. Ano pong ginagawa niyo dyan? So I was like, bibili lang po ako ng materials, because I need to experiment stuff. So that's where basically I started. But from then, I never really needed to get a job afterward. It was more on I was able to make enough for myself and for my son to hi Saleh. Ayan. Bigay ko lang dito. Ayan. Ayan. So it was more out of need, and I was able to become self-sufficient eventually after that. So that's where I started. I never really needed or wanted to be the boss of, alam mo yan, be someone else be the boss of me. It was, I've been an entrepreneur for the longest time. I don't think I would have been able to survive a corporate job. So, yeah, that's my origin stories.
Yeah. I
In
mean,
a nutshell.
speaking of
I love
like,
your origin. I love
oh
your
sorry,
origin story. Sorry, I just want to say because Teresa and I have met each other when Ellana started a long time ago because it was my college makeup also. Kasi yun lang yung afford ko eh. Alam mo naman, pag college ka, wala ka namang
Nung
budget,
mura
tapos
ng Ellana.
ang mahal ng magandang makeup nun. I remember mineral makeup was like such a new thing and a huge thing back then. And I was like, ito yung maayos na mineral makeup because it was the one that I could afford. There was another brand eh. Pero 900 pesos siya noon. I'm like,
oh, I know that brand, but I can't say it
basta
also.
yung brand na yun. Wala na siya sa
Yes.
Pilipinas.
Yeah.
Was it Mojave or something like that? Basta something like that. So
Yeah,
expensive. And you can't afford that stuff when you're in college. So Ellana yung kayang-kaya ko noon. So yeah, that was something that I really was part of my graduation pa even. So yeah, it's just funny how things kind of go around in circles.
I know, right? The world is so small.
It
And
is.
kind of speaking of like funny how things kind of line up and how the world runs. This is kind of, I think this is also going to be connected to why you guys, I know for a fact that two of you guys remain quite close because you, before COVID, ended every single social gathering. You guys would actually go out quite regularly and talk
Yeah,
about
we hang out.
being women in business. Like you'd have dinner.
Buti na lang, we had dinner before COVID, diba? We had like a
Oh,
4 hour, we had a 4 hour chika session before
yeah.
COVID, remember? In Fort,
Yeah, I
kasama pa si
know.
Diego, tsaka my fiancé James was
It's
also with
exciting.
us at that time. It's crazy. Buti
Oh,
lang nakita na.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that one of the things you guys talk about are the things you've learned being women in business. So it's kind of tied into the question that Firas Abud is asking. So it's at the bottom of the screen. Can I ask a question here? Of course you can, guys. By the way, ask questions while this live is running.
Hi,
What was the one
Firas.
thing? Oh man, this name is familiar. Is this the person who wrote that really awesome
He writes
article?
at Project
Yeah,
Vanity.
he's the one who wrote the one about makeup for men, Teresa. He had
He's
a
the
really good
one who
article about
wrote
makeup for
about
men.
men and makeup, and yeah, he's fabulous.
Yet. So what was one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started out as an entrepreneur? And I like this question because it dovetails to Liz going like, ang tanga-tanga ko, I quit my job and like, wala, my blog. which
Oh
you said
my
it
god.
kanina. So like,
I
go,
would
go.
Okay, I'll answer it first. My god, there's like 5,000 things I wish I knew. Hindi lang one. Oh my god, I made so many mistakes in like the last 10 years of like after college because I graduated in 2009, so 11 years. But one of the things I wish I knew when that I wish I knew back then was like to not be afraid of um of trying things out, because I'm like that kind of person who, sorry ha, iyakin ako guys, so I'm gonna say right now, this is why I don't like to talk about this in live video.
tinaw si
Sorry,
tissue!
I cry at everything. I cry at Facebook videos. I cry at YouTube
That's why we're
videos.
friends.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
that's why.
you're in
Iyak
good
ako.
company.
Masaya ako, iyak ako. That's one thing a lot of people don't know about me. I'm super iyak. It's really, it's kind of embarrassing. Anyways, so okay. One thing I wish I knew was not be afraid of trying out stuff. Because when I was younger, I don't know, it's like such a, whenever I think of myself from 11 years ago, like it's such a completely different person. Like, in college, just to give you an idea, I was like the artsy type. I was like that kid who'd go to school in UP Manila, and I would be like in my boots, my combat boots. I would have like smoky blue eyeshadow na sobrang black. My teacher back then called me avant-garde kasi sobrang feeling ko lang sobrang bongga ako nun. But anyways, but I was also super self-conscious. I had a lot of insecurities kasi, I know I'm beautiful now. I'm just kidding. But I know, I mean, I love the way I look like now. I'm very confident in my face, my body right now. But I had a lot of insecurities back then. I think a lot of young people have that. And so, I reject a lot of new ideas. I'm not very open to trying out things. Kasi, if I fail, it's gonna be so embarrassing, and I don't believe na I can make it happen because parang how? Like, I didn't have money. My parents weren't rich or anything like that. I went to public school. I mean, I'm a scholar ng bayan, so my tuition, it was what we could afford. We didn't have money. So, I had this like no can do mindset. I had this parang like whenever something is, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? The first thing I'll think about is because it can't be done. Alam mo yun, that was how I used to think about things. And sometimes I still think like that. But like if I could tell myself something like to tell my 20-year-old self something, it would be like, girl, just do it. I mean, just try everything, do everything at least once, learn from the experience, and then build and build and build and build from that. Like everybody thinks that you do something right the first time. It's impossible. Nobody does something right for the first time. Not sex, not cooking, not having a pet, not having children, definitely not starting a business. There's like, it's just impossible. I feel like the human experience is really built on past experiences and learning from these things and being able to process that mistake and understand why things happen that way. So if I could tell myself that, it would be, I feel like I would have gotten faster, with less pain in my in my development. But it's all part of it. So I do appreciate all those hard parts as well. So yeah, that's my answer. Do I get the Miss Universe award or
I have
crown?
Yes.
a sash. I have a sash. Wait lang. I do actually have a sash, and I have a literal
It's
best
true.
in Q&A sash. And I have a crown. If you guys wait
Yes.
lang. O, to, Liz, ito na, wait lang.
Ayan na, lalabas na ni Frankie.
Don't
If
ask
my
me why
dog
I
were
have
near
this.
me, I would put my dog in my head.
O, there,
Don't
Kindly.
ask.
pakibigay niyo po na.
Ayan. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What about you, Teresa, though? Okay, wait.
Teresa, what's your answer?
O, Teresa, ikaw, lalaban ka ba?
Second
Go.
runner-up.
Second runner-up. Let's go.
No, ano tawag doon? Yeah, what would I have said? What would I have known? Uh, I think a lot of it is yes about failures, and it's more about you are going to fail. It's more about being comfortable with that. You are going to fail, but try your best not to. But if you do, then you have to accept your failure. You have to learn from your mistakes, and you have to learn how to pick yourself up. I wish that somebody told me how harsh it's gonna be of an industry. Honestly, the cosmetics business is it's just so, alam mo yan, like, whoo, fudge. But it's fun and it's dynamic. And then ang tawag doon, I don't think I would be in any other industry other than this because it's just so much fun. And the innovation never stops. And I wish that um, when I was starting out, I would have told myself to be comfortable with your failures. It's more of that. It's that it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay, and you just have to learn how to not make the same mistake again, and to then pick yourself up from where you've been. Parang ganun. Yeah.
What
That
I
I
find
hope that question.
what I find really interesting about the two of you in the same room is that you guys are so passionate about making mistakes and nobody gets it right the first time. But because of the way you kind of, for example, Liz is essentially a blog is an educational platform. You're teaching people, you're educating people on how to make makeup choices or beauty choices, and with Teresa, you are teaching people literally how to put stuff on their face, and also about being conscious about what products they use, ingredients. So you guys are all about like make mistakes, but you also you notice are I don't know if it's subconsciously trying to get people to not make the same mistakes as you, like with the platforms that you are in. So I don't know if the takeaway here is just make different mistakes, meet as many people, learn what mistakes they've made, and then make different mistakes. I don't know if that's the
I
takeaway.
think I think one of Teresa and I why we are friends. One of the reasons why we're friends for such a long time. I mean, I get a lot of clients, and I'm not always friends with all of them, like in a hangout level. But one of the things is like we really love learning new stuff. It's just so fun. Like as Teresa was saying, it's a very dynamic space. There's a lot to learn all the time. We love learning new stuff, but more than that, we also love talking about it. There will be like chats where ayan na, sinasabi ko sa'yo, ayoko eh. I didn't wear waterproof makeup today, fine. Hindi ko na-expect. I
I'm
should have
prepared to
known.
cry.
No.
Correct.
We love talking about that stuff. Like, like sometimes we would go down a rabbit hole of ingredients or formulation kanina. Like kanina, we were talking about that. Or like we would talk about, I don't know, like new products or concepts, random things. So we just enjoy that and we have those conversations. But we also love sharing that with other people. It's not something that, well, we just love to do it. I don't know. It's just a compulsion. I
Super.
guess it makes us feel good. It helps people as well. I mean, although it just feels good, really. I mean, my dogs are barking.
Right
Okay,
na.
you can show if they're
Umalis
visible.
na si Snaps.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a core value for us. Learning and sharing, like two sides
Definitely.
of the same coin.
would you
Mm-mm.
say that those are the things that also influenced you in like the nature? Because we actually have a question here from Susie Larona, which is like what influenced it's particularly for Teresa, but I think it's apt for both of you, which is what influenced you to start, in her case, Ellana, why mineral makeup instead of food. But for the both of you, since you mentioned that this is your compulsion, was that a factor into the businesses that you guys started or chose to start? Like
You
this,
first or ako ba?
it's for both of you. Like,
Vanessa can answer that. Na, ikaw na lang.
sige, sige.
Okay. What influenced me to start was more of actually it was more about what the customer wanted and what the customer liked. It was a lot about that. If it was up to me, I'd be in business of food and desserts.
Parang alam
Oh,
ko, parang alam
I
ko
can
anong
see
gusto mong
it. I
business
can
eh.
see it happening.
Alam ko anong gusto mo, Teresa. Alam ko eh.
I
I know.
feel like that would work out.
Yeah, ano tawag doon, but I have never learned how to cook anything. Alam mo yan, other than makeup.
My
Honestly,
goodness.
but me
Tuturuan
actually
kita, Teresa.
doing
Punta ka sa bahay
something,
ko. Magluto tayo.
yeah, I think I need lessons to cook because ano tawag doon, I'm not a good cook. I'm not good in edible ingredients, and I think my kids can attest to this. So, so let's just stick to our strengths and do, alam mo yan, what we want to do. Actually, tama ka dyan, Frankie.
I'm just okay. I'm just finding this funny. I don't.
Yeah, ano talagang. So, it's more about what mineral makeup was what the customers really asked for. So I found myself trying to hone on that, making that better. How can I make it better? How can I make it better for the customer? And anong tawag doon, rather than just it being free. So it was a lot of that. Actually, I try to as much as possible listen to what the customer wants and needs and feels and would want to happen. So that I feel is why mineral makeup at that time that was what was working, and actually up to the time it still sells pretty good. It actually makes up about 30 to 40% of our sales. So yeah, mineral makeup still sells. You,
I
Liz,
remember
why
when mineral makeup.
element?
Saying I remember mineral makeup was like, what? Like mineral? The makeup? What? Remember that was like people were I remember ordering pa
10,000
from the
people.
US.
Oh,
I
yeah.
ordered like yung mga pigments from the US, yung mga sample
Yeah.
pigments sa US, because they were like 35 cents, so they were really cheap. 35 cents US cents. So parang yun lang yung afford ko na eyeshadow na maganda back then. So I remember that time, then suddenly everyone's like doing mineral makeup now, which is fine. It's more options for people, but very few brands actually stay true to the mineral makeup promise, which I think is Ellana is really consistent at over the years, because other mineral makeup you try are not necessarily mineral makeup anymore. So the
Yeah.
foundations are still mineral makeup. So I love that. I love that stuff, which I'm wearing today also. Anyways, to answer the question, ano ba yun? What was the question? Why?
What inspired you to go into your particular field, right? So, because what influenced you to start what you did?
Like, to be honest, everyone thinks that like decisions like this happen with like a clash of cymbals or a parade down the street or like a huge idea that like suddenly hits your
Falls from
face.
heaven.
It's not like that. Like decisions like the one where you're gonna be on a path on for the next 10 years or 20 or 30 years, it happens with a really really random idea. Like for me, it was, I've been blogging already, so I blog about what I ate for lunch, I blog about what I learned in school. Mga random, chismis lang. When you would have a diary, a journal, notebook diary, which I still keep now until this day, and I still keep a personal blog, lizlanuzo.com. But what I just love writing before pa, and when I got into makeup, I was like, ooh, I have to talk about this because I really like makeup. And I remember I was just trying whatever you'll find sa Mercury Drug. Alam mo yun, Watson's wasn't a beauty store back then. So sa SM, yung mga bibili mo lang ng super mura because that's what I could afford with my student budget back then. So I was like, what if I write about this? Because there are some people writing about this. Let me write about this. And then, I didn't really think much of it back then. But obviously that was the kind of decision that really basically changed my life among many decisions. But yeah, that's why.
It was just like following. It was just like kind of following your bliss, essentially. Well, not
No, it's
exactly
more.
following.
No, it's more like just just doing some random thing. Like that's the thing. People are advised to follow their passion, that's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people find success in that. I found success that way also. I mean, modest success that way as well. But I feel like people should just keep on pursuing really random decisions that whatever they're interested in. Learn as much as you can about it, and then see if you want to take that next step, and then the next step forward, the next step forward. Like, I have a food blog which I haven't updated yet, and I feel like I can do a lot with that, but I don't have time. Pero alam mo yun, like a lot
One
of
pot human.
Yes.
food blog. I have a food blog.
One pot
And
human.
also, do you know what? I also have a furniture business now. I don't know if you guys know. I'm selling
I did not know
closets
this.
and tables. Yeah, I
I
do.
did not know this.
That's awesome!
Sa
Promote na
Instagram
to.
stories ko lang. Sa Instagram stories ko lang. Ang random, di ba? Like, wala lang. Kasi, wala lang. I want to see what
Yeah.
happens. It's really that. And so, like, for me, like, just what do you want to see would happen next? Ano yung gusto mong makita yung susunod na kabanata? And then, if you want to find out the answer to that, just follow that, see what happens, and then just keep on, like, taking that next step and the next step until you can. It's really fine. I even have a jewelry business. Oh my God. Like, it's just so random. Pero, it really depends. Like, whatever works, works. What doesn't work, doesn't work. I think it's a good mindset to have. Just in case, malay mo.
Yeah.
What I love about what I love about this panel, quote unquote, is that you guys started and are still doing really small things. Like I know Teresa. Speaking of furniture business, guys, fun fact: Teresa builds random furniture in her spare time. You can see at the back there. She built that when we could
Oh,
still
you
go
built
to the office.
that?
Yeah,
So
she
cool.
also built all the furniture in the office,
Ang ganda.
It's fun, right?
and she
I
makes
love
bean
it.
bags.
Pero wait,
But it's like,
ikaw nagka-karpintero?
Of
uh-oh.
course!
She has to, you see her in the back. Well, we'll be doing like work calls. Like, Teresa, are you there? And she's like, wait
love
na,
it.
nagpupupuk pa ako dito. And I'm like,
No, you know what? I can see. I feel it's a good way to release your stress. So kudos, congratulations. That's a good.
No,
That's
it's so
a
much
good
fun.
hobby. It's a good
Learning
thing
a
to do.
lot with furniture making. I feel it's a lot of patience building. So it's a lot of patience that I'm practicing. Alam mo yun, applying to myself, and it's a lot of personality and character building that I'm learning from making furniture and pokpok. Parang alam mo yun, if you don't have the proper way of doing things, it crashes down. So you have to build it from scratch. Alam mo yun, correct and proper way. So I'm learning a lot,
I think, I
honestly,
think, I
and
think
it's
the key takeaway from this really is that just try anything small that you're interested in. You don't know
Yeah. Just
what,
try
because
whatever. Like, I swear to God, you'll be so surprised. Like, I mean, my biggest decision was such a small decision at that time, honestly. So, that's if I could give another piece of advice to myself, all these small decisions really can be like, the next path you're on. So I feel like, before you say no to something, just try it once. Like, seriously, try it once. You don't know. You don't know until you know, basically.
because
that's true.
that's kind of aligned with this question we have from Pauline Espiritu. It's like, did you guys even have a business plan when you started this? Because if I just say in school, like I have a management degree, and in fact, fun fact, that's how I met both Liz and Teresa. Is that Sir James, is Liz's fiance, was her prof. So that's
Yeah.
how I got dunked here. Like literally, you're taught in
I
school.
remember meeting Frankie with my fiance. Because
Oh,
James, my fiance was Frankie's teacher, and James always tells me, Frankie, she doesn't have any finance background, and she's very artsy, but she's my best finance student. That's what he always tells me. So,
Oh, best
Frankie, wag ka na
student.
marketing, mag-finance ka na lang. Malay mo, di ba? No, but I'm not
Frankie, may
kidding. This is
potential ka pala sa finance. Diego, are you listening to this?
No,
No.
that's
No,
the
this
fun.
is a real thing. Like,
Yeah.
James really tells me that. And I'm like, seryoso ka ba si Frankie? Finance? Parang,
I have a lesson.
Diego!
There's a lesson. No. There's a lesson there because I did, like, I'm Chinese, okay, so it's like a natural inclination. My mom is good at it, but I hated it. Like, I was good at it, but I hated it. And I think when I started in UANP, I literally sucked at marketing. But I wanted to be good at it. I enjoyed it. And now I'm not the best, but I people come to me for marketing advice now. I know more things. I think you just and that's I think a piece of, I don't know. I'm not qualified to give advice about entrepreneurship, but I am qualified to give advice about trying stuff. Is if you like something, even if you suck at it, if you really like it, there is a possibility, not all the time, there's a possibility you can get good enough at it to make money from it. So don't
I'm
be
gonna be
discouraged
cool
by
tomorrow.
sucking. Yes!
Ayan,
I
Teresa.
will never do finance, Teresa. I hate it. It makes me itchy. I'm like,
Okay,
ah!
whatever.
I do like spreadsheets. Anyway, but like in line with this, they teach you in school a business plan. Did you guys even have a business plan? Did you have that whole when you started talaga?
Well, with my actual corporation, like when I incorporated Project Vanity, my business plan was to just keep on doing what I was doing because I was already earning from the website. I already have clients before that. And so I thought, no, I just keep on doing this. And now I have some capital, not a lot, but I had some capital. I was able to raise some money. So I thought, okay, I'll just keep on doing that. And now I have some more help. So it should be easier, right? My first year of
Ah,
business, my first year of business is the worst year, worse than this year. I'm gonna tell you that it was even worse than this year because this year I know how to do things and I can kind of figure it out even with the pandemic. But when in my first year of business, when I thought I knew a lot of stuff and I thought it was gonna be easy, that was also, I don't know, ironically the hardest year I've had to deal with because I lost all my money. I mean, I had savings. I'm super open about this. I was doing my freelance work for a while, so I had some money, which is a good amount for my age. But I lost all of that. Like I didn't have salary for the last 4 months of that year. It was really terrible time, and there was a lot of soul searching that was done in that very first year of incorporating. So I feel like business plans definitely help. But what was that quote? I can't remember. I can't remember which Netflix show it was, but no, it was from World War II. One of the, I don't know if it's one, but parang plans don't survive contact. Like it was talking about World War II, one of the biggest battles at the end of the World War II, which was the Battle of the Bulge. Anyway, plans don't survive actual contact. Like, when you're in the situation mismo and it's happening. I mean, here, the analogy is war. Everyone's shooting at you, there's tanks everywhere. The plan will fall apart. So no plan survives contact is the first thing I guess I can share with that. And so that was my plan. I had a financial model. I had like an idea of how the business is gonna be like, but it wasn't, and it had to change dramatically. How I used to how I do things, and what works down the road is completely different. So I had a plan, but it fell apart. That's my answer.
yeah, and then again for me, there was a time wherein I think it was about 2013, when around that time, 2013, when I was actually thinking about closing everything. And it was a time wherein I had to, like, okay, anong tawag doon, Diego, I remember what at that time was like, um, you know what, I'm looking for something, to do. And I was sharing with him what was I was doing, and um, he brought it up to his dad, and his dad actually asked me for a business plan. So I was like, "Oh, fudge! How fudge do I do this?" So fudge. So we're very wholesome here. So how the fudge do I have to do this? And then they were like, I produced actually like a 50-page business plan in which that was crazy because I had to produce it. And up to now, they keep teasing me about it. Diego, that my husband kept teasing me about it because they were like, "How the hell did you come up with this?" in the business plan. And then tawag dun, it was more about because I really wanted what I really like doing business and really like, alam mo yan, aside from the making money, it was something, makeup is something I really wanted to do. And it actually crafted the whole business plan part. And but I never really parang wala natuloy. Totoo lang.
Yeah.
Now that looking back, when up to now, actually, we still are continuously doing plans in which,
Mhm.
alam mo yan, most of it naman natutuloy, but be open and flexible if it doesn't. It's just that.
Yep.
Anong tawag doon? Not all the
Yep.
plans are gonna work, but you have to be acceptable and agile enough to move from it if it doesn't work. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it is
Yeah.
really true. As somebody who literally does make plans for a living, because I am Alana's one of Alana's strategy team. Yeah, plans don't survive the first contact. It's like this is the campaign. First contact, fail.
No, planning is good. Planning is
Yes.
good because it gives your movements like
Yeah.
structure and there's something to follow. But again,
Definitely.
when things really have like my God, I had so many plans for this year. We just lost 5 months of this entire year. And parang it's what can you do, right? And what you do is you try
Yeah.
tawa lang. Yun yung tawa ng malalim eh. What you do,
Oo.
you make face masks, you make like cleansers and
Wala
sanitizers.
yun sa
Ellana
plan
and
ko
I
at
really
all.
admire.
Wala yun sa plan ko
Wala,
at all.
lahat ng balak ng mga tao is like
Yeah.
is
But
so
you
if there's a
have
lesson there, it's
we planned to grow at the beginning of the year. I remember we had a planning
mm,
session to grow 3 times the size that we were at,
Yeah.
and
Get that,
already
Teresa.
yeah, we already was rolled out. We already rolled out a plan for how many costs we're gonna do. This is the budget that we're gonna need. This is the people that we're gonna need. This is the team that we're gonna need. This is how much we'll be making in a day in order to sustain what we have to do throughout the end of the year to grow that big. And it was all thrown out the window. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Just
And we're still
wave to those plans as they fly past you in the wind.
yeah,
Like, oh, it's nice to have you.
there's gonna be times wherein that happens, but still you have to be ready for anything.
I just wanted to say
super
because
true.
looking at the both of you actually and just having mapped your journey. Mga stalker ako no kadire. But I feel like the best stuff comes out of when your plan falls apart in front of you and you have to use the moving bits you had put up to make something different. At least from what I've seen with what you guys have done. And
That's
speaking of
super true.
like yeah, and speaking of kind of like that, I think because we were almost like it's 15 minutes left. So and this question might take a long time to answer. So kind of tying back to kind of the best things usually come out of the worst things is this is a really good question. This is from Kia Alvarez, who's been wanting to ask this question since kanina pa because she actually is a fan of yours, Liz. She said she remembers you from her first from the Viviamo Summit. And when you were there as a featured Freedom to Dream Summit. You remember she's from there. She's been following you from there. So
Oh
this is a question
yeah.
for the both of you, which is how do you face the inevitable entrepreneurial adversity? So navigating through, I think beyond just like challenges in a competitive industry, stuff like this. How do you survive? And it's not even like how do you what where the answers
I'm
come
gonna
from. It's how do
cry.
you stand
Just
it?
thinking about the answer is making me cry actually. Okay, I'll be
Ayan
super
na, Liz.
honest. Like meron akong
Tissue.
tissue dito. Ayan,
Ayan na.
handang-handa na
Kuhanin mo
ako.
tissue
Alam
ko.
mo yan.
Kuhanin mo tissue ko.
So,
Alam mo yan.
Kuhanin mo
I
tissue.
keep a lot of towels, like clean towels, just for like when I cry at the movies or whatever, or cry at the book. No, okay. So, like I'll be honest, like during the pandemic, like it was a really tough time, and it was really like yung feeling mo na there's no way out, and you feel like fuck. Like what's the next move? There's no next move. Everything's so opaque and dark, and you don't understand anything anymore. Everything you know changes, right? Oh my god, this is what I'm saying. Ano ba yan?
okay.
Anyways, there was a point there during the pandemic where it was really like I don't know, like it's a spiral and it's super hard to get out of. So my fiance, James, it's really good advice. Like, you know what, Liz? Talk to other people. Talk to people and tell them your problem and listen to their advice. That was what he said. And I was like, I scoffed at that. I was like, really? I'm gonna talk to someone. It's not gonna fix my problem. I'm still gonna have the exact same problem. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the exact same thing. It's not gonna be different. So I just wallowed for a bit. But parang it wasn't getting better. So I called people. I started calling people. Teresa and Diego were one of those people I called. I cried so much. I remember that was a 2 hour call. Was it?
Yeah.
It's super haba. I called Teresa and Diego. I talked to them. I called my other entrepreneur friends. I even people who I wasn't really like super close friends with. I called them. Um, I called everyone who I thought could relate to me, and I just told them, "Hey, this is really tough. Like this happened, this happened, this happened," and they're like, well, they gave their own advice, they gave their own versions, and just talking to somebody is so powerful. I cannot tell you this enough. Like in a when you're in a really really bad place, having other people who can relate with you and share with you their own struggles, even not even advice, like just really empathizing with someone else on both sides, it's super powerful. So my answer to that question in this context: how do you deal with entrepreneurial adversities? Talk to people. I know it's sobrang obvious. Of course, you need a plan. Of course, you need to see your steps and write it down. And a lot of people can give you really practical advice, and that works completely. But I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, especially now, have like a mental. It's
Breakdown.
more on mental stress. It's more on mental and emotional stress from running a business, and that sometimes blocks a lot of us from taking the next step. Like, yes, you know what you're gonna do. Like, come on, of course, it's obvious. You need to do this. You need to do that, and we have business advisors and we have people who can like help with the practical stuff, and that's always gonna be there. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you should be able to have those kinds of people around you and have that kind of support. Yes, obviously, but in terms of like internal struggles and internal fuck ups, I guess. I mean, internal knots in your head, whatever, the only solution, and I can like 100% tell you this is true, is to talk to other people who can relate and who can like, share and give their own advice. So, yeah, that's that's what
I'm
I
I'm
think.
I'm, I'm tearing up. Wait lang. I'm seriously like I'm about to cry, but like I'm just holding it in. 'Cause
No, it's true. Just
it
talk
is.
to people. I swear. I called so many people. I
Frankie,
was in
hindi
one
kayo
hour,
dapat
2 hours
umiyak.
on the phone.
Okay, kami.
Yeah.
Bawal! Bawal
Iyak
umiyak
kami
din ang
lahat.
host. O, Teresa,
So yeah,
ikaw.
that's my advice.
Okay. So adversities, no? Well, I have I read quotes. I am a sucker for quotable quotes. And alam mo yun, I read a lot of I sometimes make entire conversations and like answer via people via quotes because well it helps me cope. And I know that people have gone through the same thing as we have, and so I'm seeking wisdom from alam mo yun, other people and other people's been there who can relate actually to whatever you're dealing with, whatever we're dealing with. So that's one of the ways. And Psalm 23,
Verse
Frankie.
1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He
Yeah.
maketh me lie down. Don't get me started. No, everybody here does not need to know. I'm actually a theology geek. I have a one of the weird things I'm into is interpreting the Bible and then read. Don't get me started. But
One of the things that anong tawag doon ni Frankie and I talk about a lot is Psalm 23. But I'm sure that there are other versions. I
yeah,
mean, I respect all religions and I'm not just alam mo yun,
yeah.
about the Bible, but I do turn to it if I need of guidance as well. So I pray a lot. And it's one of the things that keeps me healthy is I pray like incessantly, not necessarily have to go to the church in order to just pray, but ano tawag yan, just like trying to connect to the universe and asking for guidance or at least a sign of how to move things forward and praying for courage, really. A lot of praying for courage because it can get really scary out there right now, especially. It's super freaking scary. And so that's one of the things I do in order to cope. I read a lot of quotes and I pray a lot.
What I like from hearing the both of you really is that if you notice, the theme of both your answers was really looking for guidance and looking for advice, and to do that takes a lot of humility, takes a lot of admission that don't have the answers right now, and I don't know what I'm doing. And a lot of people associate entrepreneurs with like powerful people, that idea of I'm the boss, so I know everything. Alam ko lahat. I'm a power person. But you guys are, what I appreciate is that you guys have put yourselves in the position of vulnerability. And that's how you get through. And I think that's important for everybody to know. We were supposed
Wait,
to
I
talk
want to
about,
answer. Sorry,
go, go,
I want
go,
to
go.
answer a question because I saw in the chat. It's actually a really good
Where?
question
About the
because it's a
bank?
practical question.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Um, Rhiannon, yeah, actually, that's a good question. One about the loan. So Rhiannon, my answer to that is, I don't know, like when I first started. So I have a skincare brand also. When I first started that one is a different business, a retail business. And when I started that, I started with a really, really tiny capital. It was like 30,000 pesos. When I started it, and I really didn't have any idea what I was doing. I thought I did, but it was a very small. I didn't have to loan. It was like a small amount lang naman. And one of the advice I got back then was, "Are you sure? Like that's so small. Like sobrang liit ng scale, and then parang it's not gonna parang what." You have to think about long term and what's gonna happen, and when you pick up, parang you need to think about that. But I was thinking back then, that was what I could afford. And parang, 4 years later, the brand has definitely made the 30,000 pesos back. So good news. But the answer to that is it's mixed. Okay. So if you're a first time entrepreneur and you are still learning the ropes, and you're not there's a lot of things that hindi mo pa talaga alam. Even though alam mo, hindi mo alam. Like I've been in beauty for so long when I started that skincare brand, and I thought I knew a lot of stuff about it. I thought I knew about marketing, I thought I knew about product development, etc., etc., but I didn't. So parang assume that you know nothing, like Jon Snow. And if you're new, always start with the smallest amount you can live without. Alam mo yon. Don't put a shitload of money on something for your education. Like think of it as your education, right? Your initial investment is always going to be, for me in my head, is always going to be like a learning. Parang that's your first course. Alam mo yun, first year of college, so to speak. Parang ganun. So that's what you used to learn, what you don't know. If you're more experienced na though, if you're more experienced entrepreneur, I feel like you have to think about how big you want to be and your scale, and you have to invest in that manner. So for me, as much as possible, don't loan from a bank. Get from your friend. Get help from your friends and family who understand your vision. Have them be part of your business. Also, I mean, as an investor, right? Not necessarily as a partner. That's an entirely different. That's an entirely different thing. But that's my advice. If you're just starting out, use your own money, learn as much as you can, expect to fail. Number one, I always say that, expect to fail. I've never met a single entrepreneur in my entire life who succeeded with the first concept. It's impossible. I mean, look at Teresa, lip balms, utang ng loob. I mean, tapos ngayon
Come a long way.
diba? Ang layo-layo. But it's like no entrepreneur I've ever met succeeded with the first business. Okay, so always take that in mind. So in that regard, don't spend a lot of money, spend a few, spend as much as you can lose. And then if you're more experienced entrepreneur, then you kind of have a framework for it. Get the right people to help you build it out. And that's when you can spend real money. Pero until then, do not, is my advice. Just do not, because it's gonna be a lot of pain.
Teresa, ikaw, may dadagdag
Yeah,
ka ba?
loans, if you get, anong tawag dyan? Probably assess your situation first. If you're gonna get a franchise, I mean, alam mo yun, there's lots of loans that are available right now at the bank for that. But if you have a proper spot, probably then you can. If you're already getting a franchise, then it's so much easier because alam mo yun, you're kind of guided with that. And there's lots. It comes with the training, what you're paying for. But if you're gonna start from scratch, then that's going to be a lot harder. You have to make sure that your unit economics are sound. So, anong tawag doon, that you're able to actually recuperate everything anong tawag doon, um, that you're selling, and all the raw mats from A to Z, it's all covered. So taking a loan is not necessarily the first step. Money is not the first step. It's more of your idea. How sound is your idea?
Proof of concept.
How good is the service or product that you're trying to sell? Then money comes after. Madali na yung pera if you're able to prove the concept, or the there's proof of concept already. Madali na yung pera. The last thing that you think about. Um, anong tawag doon? It comes naturally to, especially if you're like trying and testing out people. They're like, oh, maganda tong product na to, nagamit ko. I'm sure to buy it. So, alam mo yun, that's a good thing. But you have to try out and test out your concept from scratch if you're, anong tawag doon, before you even think about getting a bank loan. There's so many steps that you have to do.
If I could
True.
just like jump in, just because
Go, Frank.
I have no entrepreneurship experience, but since you guys all brought up my finance past, lol. Entrepreneurship is kind of the intersection of finance and marketing. And what I've learned from working with a lot of entrepreneurs, my mom was an entrepreneur actually. She sold her business though, but like she was an entrepreneur. Is you start with the and also from working with people in Ellana who taught me this, is that you start with the pinaka basic level version of for example, your eventual goal is to be a clothing empire like H&M. You start with the smallest possible version of that. What is the smallest possible version of your big business goal? And you test if there's room for um, that thing in the market. You start selling it. It's of little cost to you, little risk. You have enough money in the bank to fund a few prototypes and see if it sells or not. And then from there, when you get the data from that, like if people buy it or not, how long it take for people to buy, etc., then you can start scaling, or you can be like, this is complete waste, but at least you didn't spend a lot, and you still have money left behind to try another idea. So it's really about sorry. It's just like it's the intersection. Entrepreneurship is the intersection of financial knowledge and marketing knowledge. And you don't have to be super great at either. You can always like, I'm sure there are more people in your friends list who can't stop talking, like people like me. People come to me for free advice. I can't stop giving advice. So, high five. Find someone to do that. And then just take whatever they tell you and try something small. Don't even think about loans muna. Wag mo seryosohin masyado. I think that's something that scares people as entrepreneurs. You have to be serious about it the first try. Just think of it as like,
Yeah.
there's on the side. Side hustle muna. Tingnan muna natin. Okay.
Oh, you already have a proven concept, then you can bet your life on it.
Yeah,
Alam mo yun?
that's
If
true.
you're
Life
Like you just have
talaga.
to take. I like that word. Like you have to take small bets. You have to take small bets all the time. Like like Teresa is. Well, you're building your own furniture, so yay. But like ako, I was able to find like just super random stuff, and was able to find like someone who can custom make furniture from upcycled
Oh, wow.
elevator wood packaging, because
Whoa.
JJ's
nice.
family actually has an elevator business. They build
Oh.
elevators. And I always go there and I see, ba't ang daming kahoy dito? Ano to? And they're like, wala, yun yung packaging. Kasi elevators come in big wooden pallets.
Yeah.
Kasi. So parang, ano yan? And they're like, ang ganda ng wood. And then, wala. Ano what do you do with that? They just throw it away or they give it away
Oh,
to
there
their
you go. It's
neighbors. So,
like for pallet furniture.
ayan. So parang I thought, what, maybe I can do something with that. And it's just like, again, basically the moral lesson is keep on taking these small bets. You don't really have to spend a lot of money. Like I was able to start a small business just because of that. You sometimes all of us have these resources we have at our disposal. Always keep a running inventory of that and see what you can make of it. You don't necessarily have to make money. Wala akong ginastos for the furniture business. It was really what was on hand. It was labor that was not doing. I mean, that was free at that time, and then yeah, there's something. So for me, like of course that's pinaka ideal, right? It's not always like that all the time. Pero you'll be surprised. Like there's so much opportunity that perhaps a lot of people are not always looking for. So parang for me, keep an eye out. Always like observe, see what's around you, take an inventory of what's the resources available to you, and then take these small bets until you find something that works out for you and something you really want to invest in.
Yeah.
Wow. What I took away from this is that entrepreneurship is less the social network where it's just like, boom, tsaka laka-laka, I'm a genius, and more of just, wala, mano-mano, home enterprise becoming an
lot of
empire.
Frankie, it's a lot of grit and anong tawag just pushing through and powering through your idea and anong tawag dun, you can't if you really think that your idea works and anong tawag dun, it's something that would benefit the humanity in general, then anong tawag dun, there's no stopping you. Honestly, whatever that may be.
And I think a shout out lang to people watching who after this maybe are thinking, well, maybe I don't want to be an entrepreneur. So this is just me coming from myself is I don't want to be an entrepreneur ever. Like I don't. I really don't. I don't like the idea. I know what finance kasi nga background. I know what it takes to do it. I know what I have to think about and like ayoko. But it's important to have an entrepreneurial mindset in general because it also helps you in work. So if, for example, maybe you're not the idea person, maybe you're not the person who can come up with the money making idea. But if you have friends who are entrepreneurs and you're like, hey, this person has promise, like, maybe that's your side hustle, maybe that's your window into the entrepreneurship life where it's not your dream, it's somebody else's vision, but you believe in it enough to invest you to put your back to it. I mean, that's where I am with Ellana. Like, it's not my business, but I talk about it like it is. It's what I feel about the people I work with. It's what I feel also about. I was telling Liz, like, I was about to message her an idea for Project Vanity articles at 3 a.m. And then I was like, no, it's 3 a.m. Don't do it. People need to sleep, Frankie. You're a bad person. But it's like that. If you have, I think, if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, think about how you can be an entrepreneur for your friends' own side hustles. How can you help them?
The mindset helps. It's not
Yeah.
you don't have to be an actual entrepreneur in order to alam mo yan, succeed in life. You just have to have the mindset in order to help you get through at least.
Yeah.
It's really important, especially right now. Anong tawag dun, a lot of people wants to start new things. A lot of people are looking for ways to pivot or ways to ano mo yan, to move to move from what they're doing just to move anything and yeah it just needs yeah it doesn't necessarily have to you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur to
Yeah.
do that, just the mindset helps.
I think if people want to have a life where they're not like, I think a lot of people get into entrepreneurship because they don't want to have a boss, right? They don't want somebody giving them orders. But if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, any job you enter, you don't have a boss. Like, okay, technically, theoretically speaking, Teresa is my boss, but I'm not. These are that relationship. I'm doing things because I'm ordered to do so. It's not it. I do it because I want to, because I'm invested in this thing. So it's not. I'm not even thinking about because they have to tell me, so I have to do it. No, so I want to because this is the goal. It's my goal now. It's something I have in mind. I've bought into this, and so you don't feel that parang I'm being ginagawa kong utusan. So that's, I think, it's important as well. If you don't want to be an entrepreneur, fine, but you can still not have a boss if you have an entrepreneur's mindset. But I'll stop talking because this is about you guys, and we're on to our last question.
Okay,
Our closing
sige.
question. This has been a very
Let's
interesting discussion.
go.
So we'll close it
Bye.
out. It's just, I guess, it's a twist on the last question. Normally, people ask, "What's the best piece of advice you can give," etc. Right? But the question I want to ask you guys, because it's something that was actually sent to me via DM, was, what is the worst advice you've heard as an entrepreneur, and what would you rather say instead to close out? Like, what's a myth? You're just like,
Advice.
no, 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 no.
I don't know. What's the worst advice I've ever received?
Or just heard lang. Like, parang sasabi sa book. Ganun.
I have one. It's anong tawag dun, um um don't fail, never give up. Ano ba? So, kasi, as an entrepreneur, things get thrown at you. Like, so people have so many suggestions on what you should do and what you should be doing. And, alam mo yan, I'm open to all of that, but I can't follow all of that. There's so many, you have to learn how to weed through, alam mo yan, opinions and what to actually follow because you're gonna have 10,000 people telling you what to do as an entrepreneur, and you have to like alam mo yan, follow only a few things that you can. You can't, alam mo yun, you can't never give up on everything. It's like, it depends. Also, failure, yeah, failure is not an option. That's one of the things that I battle with. No, it's failure is fine. Failure is okay. Failure is, alam mo yun, learning. It's fail learns. It's, ano tawag doon, it's okay to fail, but how do you pick yourself up? It's what really matters. Really, it's one of the things that I've learned over time to accept, and that you don't know everything. Alam mo yun? Um, one of the things with Ellana, one of the things that we hate in Ellana, is that the mentality na when somebody comes in, goes for an interview, alam mo yun, like, yeah, I can save you the entire company and everything else. Oh, huwag kang mag-alala. Guilty ka? Okay.
Oo. Yun naman.
I love you. Ano tawag doon, ano, but it's one of the things that we learn over time na, alam mo yun, yung alam ko na yan mindset. We hate that in Ellana, honestly. We are humble enough to accept the things that we can do and cannot do. And we know that there is so many things that we don't know yet that we have to learn. And if you come in with an open mindset and alam mo yun, open-minded ka ba? Alam mo yun, coffee tayo. Ay, tubig lang pala to. But, but yeah, anong tawag din, if you come in with an open mindset, then you'll be able to learn a lot more, and you can grow a lot more. And saying that you know everything already, it's just wow. Alam mo yun. Ikaw na. Talino mo. Sige na, ikaw na. Gawin mo lahat yan. And yeah, that's one of the things I've learned along the way. Yung failure is not an option. Tsaka yung never give up.
Mhm.
You have to
Okay,
learn
so
which one you can give up. Because you have to freaking focus on what you have to do.
true. So, okay, that's a great answer. I'm gonna give a controversial answer, I feel. Because
Go.
this
We
is
like
something
controversy.
this is something I've also told people in speeches before, in talks before. But I don't know, after 4 years of, running a business, I've I've changed my mind about it. Like, I feel like it's not necessarily always true for everyone. I mean, it can be true for some people. It was true for me, as a matter of fact, but it's just not. I feel like it's not a great way to think about how you would spend your time, your resources, whatever. And it's this: follow your passion. Like, it makes sense. Following your passion means that you'll never work a day in your life, that you'll always be happy, or at least you'll always feel fulfilled in what you're doing. So everyone's like saying, just follow your passion, do what your heart says. And I think it works for some people. Like, I'm not saying this is like completely false and all lie, but a lot of people give that advice. Like, you have to follow your passion. And I think that it's really a damaging piece of advice, because not everything you're passionate about you're inclined to succeed at. Because I think it's very important to also have, like, number one, a natural desire to learn and improve. You also have to have, like, the humility we talked Teresa talked about. You also have to have the humility to want to want to be able to pivot and change the way you approach a problem or tackle a problem. And I think that it's also super important for someone to have to be able to process, how they're progressing in that journey. For example, you can keep on following your passion. For example, like, Mark Cuban always says this. Like, he wants to be a baseball ba si Mark Cuban, or was it basketball? Anyways, like, he loved this sport so much, and he wanted to be like in the major leagues or something. I think it was baseball. Yeah, he wants to be in the major leagues or something, but he's just not a good back. He's just not good at the sport. So what if, parang, if you're not good at your passion, how can you feel fulfilled? It can ruin it can really shatter your self-confidence and kind of lead you astray with your life. Because parang if you're not good at what you're passionate about, paano yan? Like, what's, how do you survive? How do you live? And my answer is like, follow what you're willing to be, what you want to be good at, like what you really want to invest your resources on. I know that's like, really? It's not sexy. It's not a sexy quote. But honestly, like, I feel like you need to be able to separate. Like, I'm super passionate about painting. I love doing watercolor painting. I love playing the guitar. I love singing. I'm sort of good, but I'm not super good. And it's not something I would invest, all my time on, simply because, it's never going to be a money making venture for me. It's just something that I enjoy doing and something I enjoy learning and spending my free time on. But would you say that business is my passion? Like, honestly, I'm not passionate about business. I'm passionate about beauty. But business is an entirely different thing that I do every single day. I mean, entrepreneurship or running a business is something that I do every single day of my life. And I'm not passionate about that. I mean, I hate it. I hate doing contracts. I hate looking at I hate doing financials. I hate talking to my account. Stuff like that. I mean, I love my accountants. They're great. But, it's not my favorite thing to do. But anyways, I mean,
Lambawi.
my fiance is my CFO. I mean, my God. Anyways, this, Teresa. Business is not my passion. It's something I do every day, but it's not my passion. But I'm good at it. I'm sort of good at it. Can be improved. And that's always a good way to think about it. So, yeah. I mean, don't follow your passion. Follow what you're willing to be good at, what you're willing to really invest your time in improving yourself. For, I guess that's my advice. Or like that's the
I
advice you know. Yeah.
I have many notes. I have a tiny notebook. I have many notes. So if you're wondering what is Frankie like bending over doing, writing. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I guess we'll just announce the winners already because
Fantastic.
wow, that's a lot of that was this is extremely good. Thank you guys so much. And you guys also, the audience, you guys asked amazing questions. Thank you to Kia Alvarez Abrera. So you are one of the winners, Kia Alvarez Abrera. And thank you also to Susie Larona. So the two of you guys asked really good questions throughout this live. So Susie Larona and Kia Alvarez Abrera, our customer service people are in the room. I believe we will see dog.
Victor.
We're not cutting this off because we want to see dog. We want to see dog.
Victor.
Ayan.
Oh, puppies!
I,
Where's mine? Soleil?
I called Snap. I said, Snap,
There
Snap
you
here. And then
are.
he ran here at full speed because there's aircon and
Cute.
action for him.
Adorable.
Aircon
Oh
and
my
action
god.
for one dog requirement.
There we
Yep.
go. So thank you
Congratulations
guys.
to the winners.
Here's my
Congratulations
dog.
to Kia. Congratulations to Kia and congratulations to Susie. We're all showing our children. Congratulations to Kia and congratulations to Susie. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely did. I learned so much. And I will see you guys. We will see you guys in the next Ellana Lifestyle Talk. We'll see you guys. Bye.